RCWR Show was pre-recorded so Lee could kick back and watch a marathon of Star Trek, the original series, and play more L.A. North. That fucking dweeb.
Hold one! Arm drag! Whoa! This is
Brett screwed Brett.
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Brett screwed Brett.
Hold two! Arm bar!
Hey, get a nice shot of the brand new Mr. and Mrs. Hunter Thirst Helmsley.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate your hat. I hate your t-shirts. I hate your wristbands. I hate your shoes. I hate your music. I hate the C-Nation. I hate everything that you stand for.
Sodas rule. Yeah, they do.
Hold three. The moss-covered three-handle family gradunzo.
Live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., this is the RCWR Show with your host, Lee Sanders.
And what's up, everybody? This is the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders, and you're listening to a very special edition of the RCWR Show, Weekend Edition, coming at you on September 1st, 2012. Yes, this is a pre-recorded episode, but hey, come on, at least it's a new episode. You know I wasn't going to leave you guys hanging like that. So we aren't going to be taking phone calls on this episode, so just feel free to kick on back, relax, and chill. Of course, we do have the chat room that's open right now in case you wish to interact, so feel free to do so, as it's up on blogtalkradio.com/thercwrshow. For those of you that would like to interact with us, you can do it during the course of the show, as we are always checking the Twitter feeds at Infinity1Prod. Thank those of you that's checking out this episode right now on blogtalkradio.com and at our sister website at Infinity1Productions.com. Do hope you guys have had a pretty good jump start to your weekend so far. I know we are into the Labor Day holiday weekend. A lot of people have a few days off. Good timing, too, as definitely when this week is said and done, a lot of kids are going to be going back to school. So hope you parents, you all have went out over the weekend, or you all are getting ready to, and finish buying those last-minute school supplies that your kids are going to be needing this time around when they get ready to go back to school. For everybody else, I just hope that in general you all have just been taking it easy. You've just been relaxing, and hopefully it's been a pretty good summer for you guys, as fall is just around the corner. Can you believe it, folks? Pretty soon, 2012 is going to be in the books. You know, we got a jam-packed show planned for you guys today. We're definitely going to be getting you all caught up on the very latest in WWE-related news, TNA news, wrestling-related news, entertainment news, and so much more. You know how we do it over here on the weekend edition of the RCWR Show, and we are going to be going out strong on a high note, because this is going to be our final installment just for the next couple of weeks, as we got to make way for the next WWE and TNA pay-per-views that's going to be coming up in the next 2 weeks. So the RCWR Show Weekend Edition will be taking a hiatus, but have no fear. You know we're going to go out in a blaze of glory on this Saturday's edition. So again, this is pre-recorded. Just kick back, relax, and just enjoy this installment. Of course, as always, we do love hearing from you guys. We've been receiving a ton of emails from you all, especially those of you that are checking out the show on YouTube. Mad shout out to our YouTube subscribers who always make it be their business to hit us up with a good word from time to time on how we've been doing. We definitely appreciate it. You know, before we go into the show, we definitely want to just take this time out to thank you, the listeners, for making the month of August be a powerhouse month for the RCWR Show. As you may, all our episodes of the Tuesday night edition of the RCWR Show, Thursday night Impact Showdown Radio, our post shows. You also made our weekend edition of the RCWR Show combined be our most listened to and downloaded shows for the month of August. For us, it is our strongest month yet as we just continue to reach new skies. We definitely appreciate the love and support that you all have been giving to us, and we are just going to keep that momentum going. So let's go on ahead, folks, and let's jump right into it because we got a lot of stuff that we got to cover on today's show. So, of course, for those of you that had missed WWE Raw this past Monday night, we definitely got you guys hooked up with this special breakdown and a special segment that we like to call the Raw Reloaded Report. Of course, one of the main highlights that we had saw from this past Monday night's Raw involved the WWE Champion CM Punk continuing his program with Jerry the King Lawler. Remember, folks, just a couple of weeks back on the 1000th episode of Raw, at the end, as we saw CM Punk standing tall over John Cena and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Jerry Lawler would say that the champion had turned his back on the WWE, and this had just made CM Punk very furious, as over the past few weeks we have seen him call out Jerry the King Lawler into the ring just last week, demand an apology while also proclaiming that he is the best in the world. Now, Jerry Lawler, he would do the right thing and apologize for saying that CM Punk turned his back on the WWE Universe, but would not say that Punk was the best in the world. And as soon as Jerry Lawler had turned his back on the champion, CM Punk kicked him in the back of the head. We had saw on this past Monday night's Raw, Jerry Lawler sought to get an apology from the champion, but he would not get that. Instead, we would see bullying at its finest, folks, as we saw the WWE champion say to Jerry Lawler, hey, you look like you want to fight me. Why don't you and me get it on? While also throwing insults at the WWE Hall of Famer, saying that the wrestlers that he faced over the years, they were a bunch of nobodies, and that the one time he was involved in a WrestleMania match, it had to do with Michael Cole, a man that he lost to. I would also point out how Jerry the King Lawler never has won the WWE Championship and thought of his induction into the WWE Hall of Fame to be a joke. And would also explain the reason why he kicked him in the head, as he felt that Jerry the King Lawler had disrespected him last week by turning his back on him, so he kicked him in the head. And we just kept seeing CM Punk play with the emotions of Jerry the King Lawler as he just went on a rampage, verbal rampage, just bashing the hell out of Jerry Lawler, calling his commentating very juvenile, that of a 14-year-old. Definitely a lot of what a lot of fans have been saying over the years about Jerry the King's commentating, definitely not quite up to par. You know, this was definitely something that I felt was greatly appreciated. It was a nice breath of fresh air. It was nice of WWE in their own way acknowledging the fact that they are aware of Jerry Lawler's commentating, and I really liked how they just tackled it at face value right here, as these two would eventually tie up in a match, and it would be the main event match, as the WWE Universe got to choose which match these two would be participating in. And the picks were a tables match, a no DQ match, and a steel cage match. And of course, we know what the winner was of that, as everybody had unanimously voted for a steel cage match, where we saw CM Punk quickly made Jerry Lawler tap out to the Anaconda Vice, but the action did not stop there, folks, as CM Punk would continue to assault the WWE Hall of Fame announcer, as John Cena would try to come to the aid of the King, but the cage would not rise in time as CM Punk just continued his assault and verbal assault. After several minutes, finally the steel cage would lift open, but by that time the damage was already done as CM Punk quickly left the ring, perhaps in fear of physical retaliation from John Cena. Definitely was one of the strong highlights for Raw this past Monday night. I just couldn't help but chuckle to myself as I was seeing all of this happen, because the way CM Punk has been coming off with Jerry Lawler within recent weeks, he's just been coming off like this big bad bully that's just been punking the hell out of him. And I can't help but think about WWE's campaign about don't be a bully, be a star. And I don't exactly see CM Punk sitting up and exactly displaying the being a star campaign right now. I mean, CM Punk is just really being one of those type of bullies who you would come across in elementary school, and they demanded that you dig in your pockets and you give them your lunch money, and if you didn't, they beat you up right then and there. Then they beat you up again after school. It was definitely kind of hilarious seeing this happen to Jerry Lawler, but definitely I love the fact that the storyline is just continuing on with CM Punk, Jerry Lawler. Why it's continuing, I personally, as I said on this past Tuesday night's Wrestling Report edition of the RCWR Show, I particularly do not care too much to see CM Punk and Jerry Lawler. I really don't think they need all these other ingredients. I think it just really needs to boil down to CM Punk and John Cena. On the one hand, though, I can appreciate what is happening with CM Punk as they're trying to give new layers to his character. They're trying to give new layers to his demeanor. Definitely something that you can really come off. If they do this right, and I think they've been doing a pretty good job so far, you definitely will be coming away hating CM Punk. Now, we've seen in recent weeks that the crowd has been still neutral to CM Punk. They've been more supportive of the champion as opposed to just booing the heck out of him every single time he pops up. But they have 3 more weeks to go until the Night of Champions pay-per-view, and Cena's hometown of Boston, Massachusetts, to really drive it home. Should definitely be interesting to see what's going to happen, how things are going to play out, especially leading into that Boston crowd. That's really going to tell the story right there, folks. One of the other key highlights that we saw from this past Monday night's Raw was Triple H, who had finally made his return to WWE Raw since being defeated by Brock Lesnar at the SummerSlam pay-per-view a couple of weeks back. The main question that was on everybody's mind, was it the end of the game? Well, after about 2+ hours, we would definitely find out, or so to speak, on whether or not Triple H was in fact going to be retiring. And after listening to a 18-minute promo, we really kind of walked away from what all Triple H had to say, scratching our heads, saying to ourselves, okay, so did he retire or didn't he? As we just heard Triple H pretty much dance around in circles and talk about how he could sit up and say that he would come back stronger, better than ever, and be ready to kick Brock Lesnar's ass. That's what he would like to say to the WWE Universe, but he couldn't quite bring himself to that point. And we just ended up seeing Triple H breaking down in tears, thanking the WWE Universe. So it kind of came off as if Triple H was, in fact, saying goodbye, at least for now. As word on the wrestling beat is that Triple H, Brock Lesnar, they will 9 times out of 10 probably be locking it up again, but it may not be happening until WrestleMania 30. Now, folks, that is definitely a bit of a stretch away. A lot can happen between now and then. We know things change in the WWE, but the word that we have right now is that Triple H, he definitely wants to take on Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Honestly, folks, I think this would just be a really smart move for WWE right now, as you really kind of got to sit up and you have to say to yourself, they got to do whatever they can to make WrestleMania be one of the biggest draws, especially since it's going to be happening in the New York, New Jersey area. So I am all for Triple H and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30. I don't have a problem with it as long as they can really bring it and they can top what they did at SummerSlam, and I just have the strongest feeling that they will be able to do so. This definitely creates a lot more room on the WrestleMania card for younger talent to possibly step their game up, and it also gives an opportunity to possibly have Undertaker face a new challenger for the streak. Now, we got into a very lengthy debate about this on last Saturday's RCWR Show Weekend Edition. If you haven't checked that out, you definitely want to give that a listen when you get a chance after this show, of course, as that was definitely a very good show. Definitely a lot of valid points were made. I know personally I sat up and said that the Undertaker streak should just be left alone. They should just stop coming to the Undertaker, just let him have his 20-0 and let it be the end of it. But there is that high possibility that they will probably be going back to the Undertaker again, who could possibly take on the streak this time around. I know personally I would love to see John Cena and the Undertaker have a go at it. I know Undertaker had faced John Cena early on in his career when Cena was pushing the whole Thugonomics gimmick, but he hasn't taken on the John Cena that's been running around for the WrestleMania streak. I definitely would love to see that contest happen. Of course, that's a topic for another time. We're definitely covering the fallout from this past Monday night's Raw, but I was very happy to see that Triple H is putting the break, so to speak, on the Brock Lesnar angle. I definitely am going to be very curious to see how they are going to go about bringing Brock Lesnar back on television. Honestly, that is a long time from now on when we could possibly be seeing Brock Lesnar, and it is just one of those type of deals right now where I wish Brock Lesnar will pop up, and hopefully he will pop up before the year is out. I know, honestly, I would like to see Brock Lesnar be involved in some type of backstage segments, backstage skits where he's just picking on random WWE talent. He's just going around kind of being a big bully, and no one is really able to stand up to him, and maybe slowly but surely all the events that's happening, the random times that he pops up in these backstage segments could eventually lead up to the return of Triple H once and for all, trying to put Lesnar in his place. I definitely would love to see all this happen if properly executed right. So hopefully they will try to revisit this maybe before the year is out. Maybe the ball can be jump started as early as September, who knows, but definitely love the fact that they're putting the brakes on this right now. Very curious to see what's going to happen next. Of course, me as well as hardcore Triple H fans, we aren't buying this retirement. We know it's not legit. It's just amazing how many wrestling fans were actually breaking down in tears and actually thought that this was truly legit, that this was really happening, he was really going to be retiring. Nothing like that. I think, honestly, the day that Triple H truly retires is going to be the same time that he will also be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame just months later. You can mark my words on that. Until that happens, folks, don't believe what you're seeing right now with Triple H and him talking about retirement. It's just a big load of smoke and mirrors. Other key highlights that we saw from this past Monday night's Raw, match-wise, we saw John Cena defeat The Miz. I definitely did not think that was going to be a no-brainer right there, as Miz, he had unintentionally injured Rey Mysterio, as Rey Mysterio had suffered a concussion and he was off for a few days there. Doesn't really surprise me that Miz, who had just started to build a little bit of momentum since coming back and winning the Intercontinental Championship, he lost to John Cena. We also saw Santino defeat the one-man band, Heath Slater. We saw Brodus Clay and Sin Cara defeat Damian Sandow and Cody Rhodes. We also saw R-Truth defeat Daniel Bryan via countout. We also saw Ryback defeat Jack Swagger. Really interesting development right there, as Jack Swagger, he sat up and he said, that's it, he's done. What could that possibly mean? Who knows? A lot of people were speculating on that. Hey, maybe Jack Swagger is getting ready to quit the WWE. Maybe he's getting ready to go on a little hiatus. Who knows? Definitely going to be curious to see how that plays out. We also saw some Divas action, as Layla had defeated Natalya Neidhart, as Vicky Guerrero was at ringside telling those ladies to hurry it up. I definitely thought that was a hilarious moment right there. And as I said, more in depth on the Tuesday night edition of the RCWR show, I had pointed out how they basically bashed this Divas match, and they even had Vicky Guerrero sit up and say, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, because she had something very important to say. Even had Michael Cole playing into this. If this match was going to be treated the way that it was, then why have this match air in the first place? But Vicky Guerrero, she would sit up and she would say that AJ Lee, the Raw GM, had no right to put Dolph Ziggler's Money in the Bank contract in jeopardy, as it was up for grabs against Chris Jericho's WWE contract. Now, we would see AJ Lee, she would come down to the ring and she would assault Vicky Guerrero, and it definitely had created a lot of buzz throughout the week, as many are wondering, could any type of ramifications be taken against the Raw GM? Overall, the Raw that aired this past Monday night was definitely a decent Raw. It was definitely one of those type of Raws where it just seemed like there really wasn't too much to really take away from this episode, as you had some pretty decent matches that were in there, but overall it was definitely one of those type of nights where you just kind of wish Raw was 2 hours, as really you only had three main highlights, which was CM Punk taking on Jerry Lawler in that steel cage match. Also, one of the other highlights was Triple H announcing his retirement. And one other segment that jumped out in my mind, surprisingly, was not a match, but it was the backstage segment footage that had aired from Daniel Bryan and Kane in therapy. That was definitely a classic moment right there. If you all have not had liberty of checking that piece out, highly recommend that you do so when you get a chance. You definitely won't be disappointed. Very hilarious stuff right there, folks. Let's go ahead and let's switch gears now, and let's get you guys caught up on the latest in TNA Impact Wrestling news. It was definitely another solid episode of Impact Wrestling this past Thursday night, as we saw those damn aces and eights in full effect again, as we would also learn who the final participants in the Bound for Glory series were going to be, as we had got not one, not two, but three Bound for Glory series matches. In the first match for the Bound for Glory series, where points were up for grabs, we saw James Storm defeat Rob Van Dam via pinfall to pick up 7 points. In the second Bound for Glory series match, we saw Samoa Joe defeat AJ Styles in another classic match between these two, as Samoa Joe defeated AJ Styles via pinfall for 7 points. In the third Bound for Glory series match, we saw another great classic matchup between Jeff Hardy taking on the aging Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle, where Jeff Hardy was able to defeat Kurt Angle by pinfall to pick up 7 points. As from there, we now know who the final participants are going to be in the Bound for Glory series. These guys are locked, and they go as followed. We got James Storm at 73 points, Samoa Joe at 67 points, RVD at 62 points, Bully Ray at 55 points, and Jeff Hardy at 49 points. Now, the elimination game begins, as on next week's Impact Wrestling Live, we will see 2 matches where 4 of these participants will be in action, and again, one of them will be eliminated next week. We will see Jeff Hardy take on Samoa Joe, and we will see Bully Ray take on RVD. It's definitely going to be 2 great classic Bound for Glory series matches right there. We also saw the Aces and Eights cross paths with Hulk Hogan, Austin Aries, as all throughout the night we saw Austin Aries, Hulk Hogan, Sting. They were all trying to get on the same page, as they all had wanted a piece of the Aces and Eights. Definitely Austin Aries, who was attacked last week by the Gang of Thugs, as they had set up his hand through a steel guardrail, and they had took a steel chair shot to it. And Austin Aries would reveal to Aces and Eights that they had injured the wrong hand, that Austin Aries was left-handed. And Austin Aries, he was just really livid. He wanted revenge on the Gang, and eventually we would see Aces and Eights make another appearance, as they pretty much told Hulk Hogan and they told Austin Aries, hey, we definitely will deal with you all. We'll come out on our own time, at our pace. You know how Aces and Eights have been doing it. They go to the beat of their own drum. Now, we would see them pop up towards the end of the night, as Hulk Hogan, he tells the Aces and Eights, why not send one of your finest into the ring to take on Austin Aries? And that definitely would be the case, as a big man, huge guy, would get in the ring, and he went toe-to-toe with Austin Aries for a little bit. And it looks like from there, all hell had broke out, as TNA roster, Aces and Eights, they just start locking up horns. It was really, really brutal, just all-out war. Critical moment, though, we saw a man come into the ring wearing all black. His face was not covered up at first. He would quickly cover up his face and proceed to attack Austin Aries by hitting him in the back of the head with a flapjack before hauling off with the Aces and Eights. I know a few people in attendance, they had yelled out Garrett. So, not really sure if it was in fact Garrett Bischoff. Of course, we're definitely staying on top of the story. We found out some key pieces of information as far as who possibly this man could be. We'll definitely share more of that with you on our Thursday night edition of Impact Showdown Radio. For you TNA wrestling fans, you definitely want to check that out. It's a really cool show. We get you guys caught up on the latest fallout in TNA Impact Wrestling each and every single Thursday, and we get you caught up on the latest in TNA wrestling related news. That's Impact Showdown Radio. It comes on immediately after TNA Impact Wrestling, and you can hear it at 10 p.m. Eastern live on blogtalkradio.com/TheRCWR Show and at our sister website at InfinityOneProductions.com. Of course, one of the other highlights, many highlights that we had saw throughout the night of Impact Wrestling, which again was a very solid episode, we also had got to see ODB defeat Madison Rayne as ODB made another surprising return to in-ring action. I say it's about damn time. This woman had just re-signed a new TNA contract a couple of weeks back, and she really had not been utilized since, except for one or two backstage segments here and there. We also had got to see, also in action, actually that was pretty much it. There really wasn't too much happening matches-wise. It was pretty much the Bound for Glory series matches that really dominated it all, as we only had got 4 matches, believe it or not. So definitely a nice little change of pace right there. I know personally I would have loved to seen a few more matches come out on this past Thursday night's Impact Wrestling. Of course, speaking of Impact Wrestling, don't forget to also check out this coming Thursday's Impact Showdown Radio, as we'll also give you a overall review of August ratings for Impact Wrestling. Get you guys caught up to speed in case you haven't been keeping track of the ratings, and I'll definitely give you my takeaway on how they've been doing going into September, as I feel this month is definitely going to be very critical for them. As we all know, in just a couple of weeks, their new deal that is, with Spike TV for the extension of their live status will be up for renewal. So they definitely need to pull in a very strong month of ratings. I'll definitely share with you my thoughts about that and offer a few tips on what the company could do to ensure that they're able to stick around perhaps longer than October. Definitely going to love that piece. Definitely going to be a good show right there. But that is going to do it for your TNA Impact Wrestling Reloaded report. We're going to go on ahead now. We're going to take a very brief commercial break, and then when we come right back, we're going to jump right into it and get you guys caught up on what all you may have missed on this past Friday night SmackDown. And we'll also get you guys caught up on the very latest in wrestling-related news and do a special RCWR Show in-depth report on what could possibly be next for Chris Jericho if and when he returns to the WWE. I'll definitely share with you my thoughts on how I feel Jericho should be utilized in the WWE, how WWE, Vince McMahon and crew should be able to really and truly capitalize on him being involved with the company and really help elevate the younger talent. And we'll also take a in-depth look into, could the Dudleys, Devon and Bubba Ray, be WWE bound? Would it be a smart move for them to go back into the WWE? 2 great special in-depth look pieces. You'll definitely want to stick around and check that out. And we'll also hook you up with a new installment of Hidden Gems, where I'll set up and review the new Robert Plant and the Strange Sensations album that had came out just a couple of weeks back. It's a really cool live album. You'll definitely like my review of it. So stick around. The show is just getting started, folks. You're listening to the RCWR Show Weekend Edition. We'll be coming.
Tired of those wrestling websites that give you redirects, spyware, weird pop-ups? How about those misleading headlines? Instead of hitting the keyboard in frustration, why not visit InfinityOneProductions.com? Infinity One is the source for wrestling-related news and so much more without all the hassle. Visit InfinityOneProductions.com. Your keyboard will thank you.
Hey guys, Lee Sanders here with the RCWR Show, and I'd like to take this time out to tell you about 1 or 2 quick apps that I think you should check out when you get a free moment. First app I'd like to recommend to you is an app from Stitcher. Now, Stitcher allows you to be able to play all our episodes of the RCWR Show and Impact Showdown on your portable devices, such as an Android phone, Kindle Fire, iPad, you name it, it'll be able to play it. So definitely highly recommend that you check that out. It's available for free in the App Store. Stitcher, new and smart way to play radio. Also, another cool app that I'd like to recommend to you all is a new app that came out not too long ago from Apple. That's right, Apple has recently come out with a free podcast app. Now, this app is really cool, folks, because after we are done doing our shows, all you have to do is just subscribe to our episodes. And you can do this by downloading this new free podcast app. All you have to do, visit the App Store on your iPhone or iPad and just search podcast. Once the app is downloaded, you can then type in the name of our shows, the RCWR Show and Impact Showdown, and you'll be able to subscribe. It's that easy. So you have two cool free apps that you can check out and take all our episodes with you on the go. So get to it already.
Live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., this is the RCWR Show with your host, Lee Sanders.
The RCWR Show Weekend Edition continues now. I'm, of course, as always, the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. So, in a nice change of pace, we saw a pretty solid, damn good solid episode of Friday Night SmackDown. Definitely want to get you guys caught up on what all you had missed this past Friday night, as we saw Damien Sandow finally make his return to the blue brand this past Friday night. And what better way to do it than to get a rub-off from the World Heavyweight Champion, Sheamus. That's right, Damien Sandow, who has not been on SmackDown in at least 3 weeks. He made his return to the blue brand, and he ended up having a match against Sheamus. Damien Sandow, he did double duty this week. We had just saw him on Raw earlier in the week. Now we see him on SmackDown. We definitely had a pretty damn good match between these two guys. Of course, this match would end the way it should have ended, as we saw Damien Sandow that just felt Sheamus was just too much of a man for him, as he literally just hauled ass, went to the backstage area. Sheamus would win the match via countout. I definitely did not have a problem with the way this had looked, especially since it was revealed earlier in the week that Triple H has officially taken Damien Sandow under his wing and is making him be his next big pet project. So a lot of high expectations for Damien Sandow. I just love the way he was rubbing off with Sheamus in the ring. I mean, he just seemed as if he had faced Sheamus before on many occasions. He just really came off like a natural in that ring. I was very pleased with his in-ring presence. He really did not come off intimidated by Sheamus. Really great match these guys had, even though it didn't end with a clean finish and we didn't get a true victor in this contest. It was definitely a good sign to me that Damien Sandow is on the right track. I love how they're continuing to utilize him each and every single week. Personally, I do miss him on the blue brand, but I understand he's got to go off and he's got to move on to bigger and better things on the Raw side. But it was definitely nice seeing him do double duty and working the blue brand this week. Of course, we had also saw several other highlights of this past Friday Night SmackDown, as we saw the return of Rey Mysterio. That's right, folks. Rey Mysterio had returned after being out of action for a few days from suffering that concussion from The Miz. Remember, folks, The Miz did that ugly modified version of a power bomb on Rey Mysterio, and Mysterio, his head, the back of his head, it had connected with the canvas. It was pretty ugly, and as a result of that, he had a concussion. He wasn't cleared for a few days, but we saw him return as he had a match against Cody Rhodes. Now, Rey Mysterio would defeat Cody Rhodes, but post-match, we would see Cody proceed to beat up on Rey Mysterio, and he was getting ready to take off his mask when the one Sin Cara would come down to the ring and come to the aid of Mr. 619. And it seemed as if these Lucha Libres had picked up right where they had left off when they had paired up on Raw just a couple of weeks back, as they ganged up on Cody Rhodes, knocked him out cold, and proceeded to put a Sin Cara mask on him. I definitely love how Cody Rhodes is working with Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara right now, as he had cut a pretty interesting promo on these two guys, saying that they wear masks not because of honor and pride in the Mexican luchador wrestling heritage, but they wear it because they are ugly and that they are trying to hide their true emotions. They are trying to hide their true faces. Of course, Cody Rhodes is no stranger to wearing the mask. Let's not forget that there was a while there where he was coming out and he had that whole paper bag gimmick thing going on, and he was wearing that see-through plastic-looking mask. Definitely one of my favorite versions of Cody Rhodes. I wish he would bring that back. Maybe, possibly, that's what they're getting ready to do. Who knows? But I definitely had loved it when he had the whole mask thing going on. Of course, one of the other highlights that we had saw from this past Friday night SmackDown, we had got to see some tag team action as the Primetime Players, they had took on the team of Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd. Very great classic tag team match right here. Definitely one for the books. This was definitely one that definitely had me interested. One of my favorite highlights of the night, as we had saw the Primetime Players defeat Gabriel and Tyson Kidd. Another highlight that we had saw was some Divas action as Caitlyn defeated Natalya Neihart. How about that, folks? We had got Divas action for a solid week now, back to back. We got it on Raw and we got it on SmackDown. But notice here, both times now this week, we've seen Natalya get her butt beat. Are there any other divas that might be possibly available for a beatdown? Just looks like 2 losses for Natalya this week. Hopefully they give her a rest. And of course, our main attraction of the night, we saw Randy Orton take on Dolph Ziggler. This was definitely a fantastic match that I was paying very close attention to, where we saw Randy Orton defeat Dolph Ziggler. Let's not also forget Kane had a match as well, as he had took on Alberto Del Rio. That's right, Del Rio. He had made an appearance on the Blue Brand this past Friday night. Kane as well. This was a pretty funny piece right here, as we saw Kane get defeated by Alberto Del Rio, and this had prompted Kane to go immediately after commentator Josh Matthews and proceed to attack Josh while apologizing to him. Favorite moment right here of the whole entire night was when we saw Josh Matthews suffer a choke slam at the hands of Kane. I mean, Josh Matthews, he really took that choke slam well. What did I tell you guys a couple of weeks back? I told you guys that Josh Matthews probably still sits up. He probably still gets in the ring. He probably still throws it down. He probably still trains. He is probably just on standby. It would not surprise me if maybe he was doing a little bit of something that wasn't happening while the cameras were rolling. And this really had just proved my point. I've never seen anybody take a choke slam that damn good. And Josh Matthews, he just really sold the hell out of it. I love the fact that Josh Matthews, even though he's not a wrestler at all these days, I love the fact that he is still able to go in there and he's just been able to get in his spots. I definitely am just giving this guy a lot of props, a lot of love right now. He might not be living his dream, so to speak, but at least he's able to work with the likes of Kane. Definitely did not surprise me if Josh Matthews was trending on Twitter. We unfortunately were not in front of Twitter throughout the night for Friday Night SmackDown. As always, we're hanging out in the downtown area getting our drinks on, but we are watching SmackDown in spirit. Of course, we have to catch it a little bit later on. But definitely it was a very solid episode of SmackDown, as we even saw Michael Cole plea to the WWE Board of Directors to try to step in and see if they can stop Kane, that commentators should not be assaulted like this, that it's wrong, and he was imploring the WWE higher-ups to do something with Kane. Of course, we also saw Vicky Guerrero chime in her thoughts, as well as Booker T, on the recent actions of one AJ Lee from this past Monday night's Raw, as she had attacked Vicky Guerrero. Now, Vicky, as well as Booker T, they both had expressed their disgust with the Raw general manager, and Booker T would go out on a limb and say that AJ has literally lost her mind, and that is not the way that you are supposed to represent being the Raw GM, and he has really begun to lose faith in the ability of AJ Lee as the GM. And Vicky Guerrero would share those same sentiments, but also reveal that she had spoke with the WWE Board of Directors and had implored them to do the right thing and step in, and apparently they've reassured her that come this Monday night on Raw, they will definitely rectify this, and she hopes that they will. Otherwise, she is going to have to take matters into her own hands. So we have a very interesting setup here for Raw next Monday night. I love how we just got those subtle touches of Vicky Guerrero, Damian Sandow. I love how we just got those subtle touches from them on this past Friday night SmackDown, trying to put in those little seeds to help set up Raw next Monday. Definitely should be a pretty solid episode. That's going to do it for the SmackDown recap here. Definitely another solid performance by the Blue Brand. Of course, we're definitely going to be sharing with you the very latest SmackDown TV ratings as soon as we are able to get a hold of the ratings for this past Friday night SmackDown. We'll definitely share them with you on a future episode of the RCWR Show, so you definitely want to make sure that you're following us on Twitter and you're following us at InfinityOneProductions.com. Pay attention when we get ready to release that information so you'll be able to know when to check that show out. Definitely, though, SmackDown ratings-wise, they definitely have been doing a good job from what we've been able to see all throughout the month of August. Very pleased with what they've been doing on Friday nights, as every single week they just continue to pump out a very good, strong, solid wrestling show. Not really too much hype on the backstage segments, 20-minute interviews in the ring, 20-minute talks, none of that, just pretty much straight up wrestling. You can't really go wrong with that right there. Anybody else notice, though, Ryback was not on SmackDown this Friday night, and this was pretty much where he had got his start. Very interesting what's happening right here, folks. Also thought that it was interesting that we didn't get to see Jinder Mahal on the Blue Brand this time around. We had a few spots there that were open and was expecting maybe other wrestlers to step in there, but that definitely was not the case. And that's going to do it for SmackDown this week. Let's go on ahead now and let's switch gears up and let's get you guys caught up on what had happened in the latest and wrestling-related news. Now, for those of you that may have missed it, of course, we were talking on this past Thursday night's Impact Showdown Radio that it appears now that Devon Dudley is going to be wrapping things up with the TNA Wrestling Organization later on this week, as he revealed that him and TNA, they were not able to come to terms on a new deal, and as a result of that, Devon is going to be moving on. Now, Of course, the flip side to that, as I'm sure many of you are probably under the impression, well, what about Bubba Ray? What about Bully Ray? Now, it's been said that Bully Ray may have signed some type of a extension to stay around until October. Now, he would take to Twitter and he would pretty much say, don't believe everything that you read, kind of giving the impression that maybe he has re-signed with TNA. He's going to be around a little bit longer. Who knows? But it definitely brings up a very interesting question as we now want to switch gears and go to a special RCWR Show in-depth report, which asks the question, should Devon and Bully Ray be WWE bound? This brings up a very interesting question right here. And when I was thinking about this, and let me just make sure that I set the record straight here. Now, I'm not sitting up and I am not saying that I want to see Devon and Bully Ray be a tag team again. I don't want to see Team 3D in the WWE as much as I would love to see it. I just think at this point in their respective careers, they have just done so much. They have just done so good as singles competitors. A lot of people can say what they want. Yeah, Devon, he might have not done that much in the TNA wrestling organization, but the one thing that you can't deny, the man definitely knows how to wrestle. He really just needed to be put in the right type of a storyline situation. That was it. But the guy definitely has in-ring ability. To see these two guys go back to the WWE and be a tag team, I just think it would be a step going backwards. Instead, what needs to happen, and this would be my honest piece of advice to the game, Triple H, who is the new vice president of talent relations and is the acting COO of the WWE, who is pretty much the next guy right up under Vince to inherit the whole kingdom. I think that Triple H should really, if he really means well by ECW, if he really means well and wanting for the tag team division to succeed, then I think that he should acquire the services of Devon and Bully Ray, and he needs to make them be his scout guys, his coaches, if you will. He needs to send them down to the FCW plant, have them check out some of these up-and-coming wrestlers, have them specifically be on the lookout for guys that would probably be a really good tag team that can move up the ranks, really teach them the fundamentals. Let's be honest here. There used to be a time in the WWE when you'd be able to flip on a channel and you'd see a really great tag team and you'd say to yourself, man, if that guy ever decides to break away and become a singles competitor, he definitely would be very successful. And, you know, when you saw those tag teams back in the day, those guys, they worked off one another. They made each other better. And we don't really see that happening nowadays in promotions like the WWE. It's just pretty much, okay, here's this guy, he's just roaming by himself, and it's kind of like, okay, here you go, let's see you reach for that brass ring, you know. And it's really unfortunate because that was just asking so much of that wrestler at that time. I like the fact that Triple H is really trying to bring back the tag team division. And what better way to really ensure that there's going to be a successful tag team division by getting all the right type of people involved. And I definitely feel that with Bully Ray, Devon's experience in the tag team division, they not only bring that veteranship, but they bring that skill, they bring that coachability to be able to teach those raw fundamentals that I feel are necessary in order to make a tag team really be successful. Now, the only tag team that really jumps out in my mind as far as some type of a connection with the crowd, they have some type of charisma, surprisingly, is the primetime players. They definitely have it. Now, I know a lot of people that probably are going to be a little bit on the fence about that. There's probably a lot of people that just can't stand them, but I dare you to sit up and compare them to the Usos, Primo and Epico, Tyson Kidd, Justin Gabriel. You guys will sit up and you'll honestly say to yourselves, you know what, those guys, they really do not have any type of personality when you really think about it. At least the primetime players, at least they've tried to show something. And I think everything that's been happening to them within recent weeks, they lost their manager in Abraham Washington. I think they've just been doing a phenomenal job in continuing to move forward, and they just seem like they've been getting better and better. It really doesn't even seem as if they have been truly phased by the release of Abraham Washington. So we need to see more tag teams that are really able to come out there and have that charisma, that's definitely able to get that reaction from a crowd. And I think Devon and Bully Ray would definitely be able to really bring that out and really teach that. So I definitely would hope that Triple H would reach out to them. And honestly, that's the only type of role I see for Devon and Bully Ray. I would definitely like to see them come on back home in sense to the WWE, finish their careers out there. Now, if this is a ego type of thing and they want to be in front of the cameras, they want to be wrestling, they want to just go for the bigger belts and all that, I just don't see WWE doing that. I think it would be a serious mistake. I think they would alienate their wrestling fans, because they would probably look at that and say, okay, here we go again. We have another case where we have WWE former wrestlers that have been gone from the promotion for a long period of time. Here they are, they're coming back, and they're burying the younger talent. We know that there was that argument that was made many months back where it seemed like veteran WWE wrestlers were just coming back, burying the younger talent. We don't really need to take those steps backwards. Let's go forward. So no, I do not want to see Bully Ray and Devon step foot into a ring. Maybe they could do some type of a retirement match for the WWE. Maybe they could do one more match, who knows, have a WrestleMania moment. But other than that, I don't really see them doing anything on a full-time basis. What I'd like to maybe see them do something on a part-time basis. No, I am a little bit open to maybe a Triple H type of deal, maybe wrestle 2-3 times out of the year, but I really want to just see these guys help out the tag team division as best as they can. So that would be my best advice to the WWE. Now, of course, in other wrestling-related news, folks, we definitely got to get you guys caught up on the very latest that's been happening with WWE Diva Arian Cameron Andrew. Now, as you all know, she was arrested on a charge of DUI, driving under the influence, last Friday. Now, during the arrest, she had listed Wells Fargo as her employer and listed her occupation as sales associate. Now, this story was initially picked up by TMZ, who had reported this story, and they also had revealed that Cameron offered one of the officers $10,000 to let her go after being taken into custody because she would lose her job. That's exactly what she said. Now, Cameron was overseas with the Raw brand in Australia when TMZ initially broke out this report. Now, it had came out Thursday morning in Australia. Now, a representative for the WWE had told TMZ that Cameron had not alerted them about the bribe and that they would investigate the matter and take appropriate action. Now, Cameron had went on to work Thursday night's live event down there still in Australia in her usual role alongside Naomi as Brodus Clay's dancers. Should be noted, though, she was pulled from Friday's event in Sydney, Australia, as only Naomi appeared with Clay. Clay commented on the show on his Twitter without mentioning Cameron, writing, "Thank you, Sydney. What a great crowd. Much love." Very interesting what's happening right here. Now, we also have found out that many people in the company feel that Cameron would have probably been fine with management over the arrest, but however, since there was a attempted bribery and the fact that she didn't list WWE as her employer may get her fired. WWE has yet to make an official ruling. Of course, we'll definitely keep you guys posted on this. I'm not really sure what to make of this. It is just totally stupid to me. Honestly, I think Cameron should have just come clean, and she should have just told the officers, hey, look, I am very, what's the words I'm looking for here, folks? I think she should have told the police, look, I am somewhat of a celebrity figure for a lot of kids. I really do not want them knowing the company that I work for. I don't really want this story to leak out. If there's a way that you can just arrest me and somehow not have it be released that I am an employee of the WWE, I would greatly appreciate it. I think she sat up and she went to the extreme that she did because she was trying to make sure that WWE did not find out about this. And it's really unfortunate because she's really now put herself in a rock and a hard place. And this is really, I feel, going to definitely come back to bite her in the ass. I mean, literally. It's a nice, cute little ass, too. But it's definitely going to come right back to hurt her big time. It would not surprise me if they released her from the WWE. I mean, it's one thing if you're sitting up and you have a DUI. I think WWE, they have a little bit of patience when it comes to that. They just sit up and say, look, you know, you really got to be careful, especially if you haven't had a history of all these DUIs and being a disturbance in the community as you're on personal time, because whether you're on personal time or not, you're still representing the WWE. So in this particular case, I think they could have looked the other way and just let her go with a warning. But the fact that she lied about her employer, I mean, let's be for real here. Anybody that would be working with Wells Fargo, there is not that many amount of dates in the world that you would be able to sit up and do all this type of traveling and still have a job. Now, if she actually does still hold some type of a position with Wells Fargo, well, hey, more power to her. But I tell you what, we have our own way of knowing whether or not she definitely has worked for not TMZ, but if she definitely has worked with Wells Fargo, as TMZ had reported, we definitely will stay on top of this story and report to you guys whatever we're able to find out. But I'm letting you guys know right now, because I'm going to call it the way I see it. Do not be too surprised if WWE decides that they want to part ways with her. Now, let's be for real. She has not wrestled, as far as we know. If she has, I don't know anything about it. I really haven't heard anything from Superstars or NXT or the other little WWE internet shows that they got. I haven't heard anything about her wrestling. As far as I know, she is just strictly a dancer. And if I was the WWE right now, I would really do my best to stay clear of this. They want to just put as much distance between her and the company as possible. Just cut your ties, try to find another dancer. Now, switching up gears now, WWE's website, they took the liberty of posting an article touting some of the positive reviews that they've been getting from WWE Studios The Day, which had opened up in select theaters earlier this week. Now, to date, this is to date now, the movie has received 22% of ratings from Rotten Tomatoes as a movie review website with just 9 critics, and they counted 2 fresh and 7 rotten out of 2,201 user ratings. So basically 63% of viewers like the movie. Here's just some of what some of the people had to say about this. I'll just read some random comments. The Day is one of the most effective horror movies made in years, successfully delivering a feeling of dread that so many films in the genre lack these days, along with a unique story and captivating characters. Douglas, I can't pronounce his last name because it just looks really funny, but I'll try anyway. Aaron Kolsky doesn't take the easy out in his direction and never relies on camp or amps up the gore, quoting, to thrill audiences. He's an impressive filmmaker who is worth keeping an eye on. Another review, a savage B- movie thriller with unrealized aspirations to profoundly... That's pretty much it. And we got another one that says, every day is gloomy in the day. Douglas Aronofsky's film with a creepy, paranoid atmosphere that's more effective than the performances. Now, it should kind of be noted here that maybe WWE, they might have sat up and they might have reached out to these specific people to say a few things, but I tell you what, we definitely will have a honest review of WWE's The Day. And we're definitely going to be sharing that review with you guys coming up later in the week. Rest assured of that, and we'll definitely give you the true 411 about this movie. Now, I know visually, I thought the movie was very stunning. I thought it was one of those type of movies. I wasn't sure if I was watching an episode of The Walking Dead or what. I mean, that's just how beautifully stunning it had looked to me. We'll definitely keep you guys posted and let you know what's going to be happening with that and share with you all a honest review. We got some John Laurinaitis news as he's recovering from his injury and is back working dark main events. So far, he's been scheduled to appear at the end of a John Cena versus CM Punk versus Big Show match down in Brisbane. Laurinaitis had attacked Cena with a steel chair but had got caught with an attitude adjustment. And we got some news to report for you guys for WWE diva Rosa Mendez, who is back into the swing of things after she had took some time off a few weeks back. She's been making several appearances with Epico and Primo as they had lost to a match with the Divas champion Layla at an event down in Brisbane. That's Rosa Mendez, who had took on the WWE Divas champion Layla. So it's really nice to see that she's kind of put that whole thing behind her with regards to that Andrew Jackson guy that was sitting up, beating her, and also cheating on her. So 2 times a creep in my book. That's going to do it for wrestling-related news, but special shout-out to those of you that's going to be in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. Hey, if you're going to be happening to go to the TNA Impact Wrestling House Show that's going to be coming up in Bowie, Maryland, we definitely would love for you to show us some love by showing us some of your pictures and tweeting your experiences with us on Twitter at Infinity1Prod. We're also on Facebook at Infinity1 Productions. Definitely hit us up and let you know how you're enjoying the house show. And hey, who knows, maybe we can actually set it up so that you can appear on Thursday's Impact Showdown Radio so you can talk more in detail about your experience at the TNA house show. Once again, special shout out for those of you in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. If you're going to be going to the TNA Impact Wrestling house show event in Bowie, Maryland, definitely hit us up. We'll make it be your wildest as we'll try to see if we can get you on to the Thursday night edition of Impact Showdown Radio. Let's go on ahead now and let's take another special in-depth look as we go now in a special RCWR show look into Chris Jericho. Now, Chris Jericho, he had left WWE 2 weeks ago, but it brings up an interesting question that comes into mind right now, as we can't help but jump ahead and look into the future. Now, as we all know, Fozzy is pretty much booked up until early 2013, and it brings an interesting question into mind. If and when Chris Jericho returns, how should he be utilized the next time around? This is definitely something that had been in the back of my mind for many weeks now, and I really thought about it, and I'm saying to myself, what could possibly happen with Chris Jericho? What could he possibly do next? And I know one of the things that I would love to see happen the next time Chris Jericho comes back, I would love to see him team up with a younger guy, and I would love to see him take the tag division by storm. I think that if there was ever a time to really, truly make an impact with this whole tag team division, I think Jericho and a younger guy, they just need to do it right. Now, personally, I would love to see Chris Jericho maybe team up with Wade Barrett, or maybe see Chris Jericho team up with, I won't say Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan is just too big for the tag division now. But really, one of the names that jumps out in my mind is Wade Barrett. Possibly another name that jumps out in my mind is Justin Gabriel. I've been a fan of his for many years. Heck, maybe even Tyson Kidd. I would love to see Jericho team up with one of those guys, and I would just love to see the tag division just be taken by storm. I think that if there was ever a man that could really, truly make an impact on the tag team division, it would definitely be Chris Jericho. If anybody has great insight into what it is Triple H wants to accomplish with a revitalized tag team division, it's definitely Jericho. And I would just love to see him come back into the WWE. Don't even have it be about going for the WWE Championship or going for the World Heavyweight Championship. Just let it be all about that tag division. I just feel that Triple H really needs all the help that he can get right now. And maybe by Chris Jericho also helping Triple H out, combined with the possible return of a Devon and a Bully Ray into the WWE, and possibly also helping out with the tag team division, I definitely think with all three of these guys being surrounded by Triple H, the tag team division would just really be taken to the true heights that it deserves to be at. So that would be my message for the WWE the next time around. If you really want to try to make the best of Chris Jericho, Vince McMahon, WWE, Triple H, I highly implore you to strongly consider having Chris Jericho push the hell out of that tag team division. I know some people, they will probably look at this and they'll probably say, nah, man, Chris Jericho, he really shouldn't be involved in the tag team division. We even have some people that might sit up and say, Chris Jericho is old. Well, you know, I'm kind of eliminating that whole rumor about him being old. I mean, first of all, he's only 41 years old. That's not even old in my book. It's just not old. You're still young. I think old would be if you're 50 plus, or if you're Ric Flair's age and you're still going out there in your trunks. I just think that's like way past your time. You definitely should have hung it up by now. I think that if you set up Jericho the way that I'm suggesting, you definitely eliminate that whole talk about, hey, how come the older guys keep getting shots at the big titles when it should be the young guys? That eliminates that argument. And then by having Jericho team up with a younger star that is very close to breaking through, you know, that also helps elevate that younger wrestler that he's teamed up with. And then in a sense, it also helps out the tag team division overall because it helps elevate their game even more. I think Jericho would just be truly instrumental. I mean, there's a really cool article that's up of Chris Jericho. It's floating around right now. We'll definitely try to put it up on our website later on today. But he had recently appeared on this wrestling radio show, and he was talking about how when he first came back into the WWE, things just kept changing like every single time. And I know one of the main things that jumped out in my head in this article, he was talking about how originally he was supposed to work with Sheamus as he was getting ready to leave the company, but then right at the last minute he finds out that he's going to be working with Dolph Ziggler, and then he asks, okay, so what are we going to be saying? How are we going to be really jump-starting this rivalry? And the writers, they did not have anything for him. And it was pretty much 10 minutes to go until showtime. And Chris Jericho, he didn't like the fact that they didn't have anything. They were talking about, maybe we'll try to come up with something next week. You guys just freestyle. Jericho wasn't liking that. So Jericho and Ziggler, they pretty much just came up with something right there off the top of their brains. And they went with that whole Chris Jericho not being able to win that big one since he's been back in the WWE, which I just thought was a brilliant move on Jericho's part, and Ziggler for really having his hand in that too, and in the end kind of getting a pretty good rub off from Jericho. It was a really great piece right there. And you know, when you really chalk it up, we don't really want to have Jericho coming back and doing the same thing twice. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to see him come back and picking back up where he left off this time around. I think when it's all said and done, you want to definitely see him do something different. And in this case, I think the tag team division would definitely be up there. I mean, just think about for a second here how many times he's held the tag team championship. And for those of you that need to have your memory rejogged, it's okay. We definitely got your hookup over here. Now, me being a Chris Jericho fan, you know me, I'm definitely going to be taking some notes as far as Chris Jericho's illustrious career. Now, I can tell you that he is a 5-time tag team champion. Now, that's 1 time with Chris Benoit, The Rock, Christian, Edge, and Big Show. Now, that's for the World Tag Team Champions. Now, he was a WWE Tag Team Champion twice, 1 with Edge and 1 with Big Show. So, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing Jericho do it one more time. I mean, we know he has that nice little record of winning the Intercontinental Championship 9 times. Kudos for him. Hey, he's won the Undisputed title once. He's won the World Heavyweight Championship 3 times. Would we like to see him hold the belt one more time? Maybe, but not right now. I definitely want to see him focus on the tag team division and get it up to where it needs to be. Will it happen? Only the future will tell. So that's just my takeaway from that. Hopefully you all appreciate that. Alright, so let's switch gears up a little bit and let's get you guys caught up on the very latest in entertainment news. Now, for you guys that may not know, there's this really interesting article out on Rolling Stone where Mitt and Ann Romney talk about their favorite musicians, and man, was this a yawn, as Mitt Romney had talked about how his list includes Beach Boys. He also talked about how he loves Garth Brooks, Kenny Chesney, Kobe Keith, but he would also say that he likes the Killers because the band's lead singer, Brandon Flowers, is a Mormon. Now, Ann, his wife, on the other hand, she prefers jazz, pop, rock, a little bit of classical music. This is just a big freaking yawn in my book. I will definitely let it be known. This is definitely somebody I do not want to be president. I think the other guy, his running mate, Paul Ryan, just the fact that that guy likes Rage Against the Machine, maybe we should have that guy be the one running for president. He seems to be more connected with what's happening in music and today's society. And we got some Stevie Wonder news for you guys, as Stevie Wonder had recently revealed in an interview to The Guardian earlier this week that he's going to be headlining a UK festival, and during it he said that he is still making music. That's right, folks. Stevie Wonder is still making music. Now, he revealed that he's still experimenting and that there's a new instrument that he's been learning to play that's called the harpeggi. It's basically a piano and a guitar, and he said he's been writing really different songs with it, and he has so many. Only question he has to himself nowadays is, will they live outside of him, as time is long but life is short? So really interesting right here. Of course, as we all know, the last album that Stevie Wonder had put out was a few years back, so he definitely is due for another album. So I don't know, hopefully he can definitely put something out, maybe within this year or maybe the beginning of next year, who knows. Got some Robin Williams news for you guys. It looks like Robin Williams is eyeballing a possible return to television with a half-hour sitcom from The Practice and Ally McBeal creator David E. Kelley. That's according to The Hollywood Reporter. Now, CBS is reportedly interested in the show, which is set in the advertising industry. Kelley wrote and will produce the still unnamed single-camera series 420 of TV. This should be noted that it's going to be Kelley's first half-hour sitcom since Doogie Howser, MD, and this should also be noted that this will make Robin Williams' first starring sitcom role since Mork and Mindy, which was 30 years ago. So definitely going to be looking forward to seeing how this transpires. It should be noted that whenever Robin Williams' show launches, he's probably going to be going head to head with Michael J. Fox's new sitcom, which NBC had picked up just earlier this week, last week I believe. So it should be very interesting to see what's going to happen right there, folks. And of course, we got some Duran Duran news for you guys, as Duran Duran, they have axed the rest of their North American tour due to keyboard player Nick Rhodes continuing to battle illness. So their dates for the Ravana Festival near Chicago and 2 Ontario shows on August 31st and September 1st, those have been canceled. Now, it should be noted that Duran Duran had previously canceled shows last weekend in Atlantic City, Pittsburgh, and Ohio. Now, a representative of the band would say that Rhodes, who has been unwell now for over a week, was advised by doctors today that he is not ready to perform, as he is still experiencing the same symptoms that kept him from the stage for the past few nights. Nick held out all week, hoping that he would be well enough to perform again for these final shows, but unfortunately, the medical advice he was given requires him to continue to rest. So definitely everybody here at Infinity One Productions, RCWR Show, Impact Showdown, we definitely wish Nick a very speedy recovery. We all are Duran Duran fans over here, so hopefully whatever he's battling, he can get himself some much needed rest and he can come back stronger than before. And of course, we got some Martin Scorsese news for you guys. And he recently had responded to a lawsuit that was filed by a production company that claimed to had invested $750,000 in a movie that the Oscar-winning director allegedly promised to make in 1990. Remember, this is something that we had reported last weekend on the weekend edition of the RCWR Show. This is what Martin Scorsese had to say, and I quote, "It is shocking to us that the lawyers for Sichi Gori Pictures would file a suit pursuing such absurd claims considering the amicable working relationship existing between Martin Scorsese and the principals of Stacey Gory Pictures. And that's all that pretty much had to say with regards to that. So hopefully this can be cleared up. I'm sure it's just a big misunderstanding. In other entertainment news, Usher had won custody of his two sons. That's right, a Superior Court judge in Georgia had granted Usher primary physical custody of his two sons on Friday, bringing an end to an extended legal dispute with his ex-wife. Now, Usher and his ex-wife, Tamika Foster Raymond, will share legal custody of 4-year-old Usher Raymond V and 3-year-old Naveed Eli Raymond, through visitation plans have not been decided yet. Usher's custody will begin September 1st. So right now, should be noted the couple, they had married in 2007 but divorced 2 years after that. Usher said at the time that the marriage was irrevocably broken and that they had no reasonable hope for reconciliation. Their divorce proceedings turned ugly back in May as Raymond's attorney accused Usher of cheating and neglecting his children. Usher would testify that his ex-wife had hit him, but said that he didn't press charges because he didn't want the boys to know that their father put their mother in jail. So at least all of that is past them. Hopefully the healing process can begin for everybody. I just hope that with a case like this where visitation rights have to be shared and the kids aren't living under the same roof with the parents, I just hope for the sake of the kids, both parents, they can meet halfway, some type of healing can begin, and they can deal with one another on a cordial level going forward. Let's switch gears now and let's go into country music news as Randy Travis, he just continues to make headlines in a very negative way, as just earlier this week the country star was ticketed on assault charges in Plano, Texas on Thursday night. Now, Plano police, they had told the Associated Press that Randy Travis got involved in an argument between a woman he knows and her estranged husband in a church parking lot. Now, although nobody was hurt in the incident, Travis and the woman both received citations for a Class C misdemeanor of simple assault. Now, it should be noted just back on August 7th, Randy Travis was found lying naked in a North Texas road next to his 1998 Trans Am, which he had just crashed into a construction zone of barricades. When police detained him for driving while intoxicated, Travis threatened to shoot and kill them. He was charged with a DWI as well as felony retaliation or obstruction, and he was released on a bail of $21,500 after spending the night in jail. Now, before that, he was arrested back in February for a misdemeanor charge of public intoxication as police found him drunk with an open bottle of wine in his parked truck outside of a Baptist church. Man, I do not know what is going on with this guy. It just seems like he is just really just turned a different line of, I don't know what's going on with Randy. I mean, seems like 5-10 years ago, you didn't really hear this type of stuff that was happening. I know it's definitely shocking a lot of people in the country community. They are just starting to put their heads down in shame and go, man, damn, Randy. I mean, he's just really been living a roller coaster of a negative life as of late. It really sounds like this guy really needs a strong circle of friends near him right now. He needs to be sent to some type of a detox center so he can get himself cleaned up. I mean, really, he needs the whole 9 yards. Hopefully, if he has any type of family, any type of friends that still cares about him, hopefully they'll do the right thing and they'll step in and they'll try to see if they can get him cleaned up, because this is just really starting to get out of hand. Let's switch it up now and let's go to the rap. Get you guys caught up on what's been happening in rap. We got my favorite girl, Missy Elliott, who had revealed that she's going to be releasing 2 new singles over the Labor Day weekend. Now, longtime friend and collaborator Timberland, he confirmed this on an announcement that he made on Twitter, revealing that singles titled Ninth Inning and Triple Threat will be released this weekend. Now, it should be noted that Missy Elliott's last studio album, which was called The Cookbook back in 2005, that's pretty much been it. Now, she was supposed to release a follow-up back in June, but the record never happened. Now, in April, Elliott took the stage in New York with Timberland to perform Triple Threat. Elliott and Timberland were reported to be involved in a upcoming posthumous Aaliyah album before Elliott's manager shot down those rumors. In other rap news, Benny Siegel had got arrested at a traffic stop. That's right, the rapper was found with a gun, marijuana, codeine syrup. Doesn't get any worse than that. That's right, the rapper, who was not driving the car, was pulled over around 3:15 a.m. This had happened earlier this week out in Pennsylvania. He was on the Interstate 95 after police had spotted a tan Ford Fusion swerving and tailing behind another vehicle, which they considered to be a bit too close. Police performed a routine check for weapons on the driver and found a small quantity of marijuana and 7 prescription pill bottles. Police then searched Siegel, real name Dwight E. Grant, and found about $4,650 in cash money and a bottle of codeine syrup and prescription pills stashed in plastic bags inside a cigarette box. Now, after detaining the pair, the police found a firearm in the center console. Both men are convicted felons and prohibited from possessing a firearm. Bail for the rapper has been set at $300,000 cash money. Man, I just want to say, what a very, very stupid move right here. Should be noted that he's already been dealing with an impending 2-year prison sentence. Man, this could possibly do it. This could possibly send him back. Who knows? Very silly move right here. Hey, you guys remember that report that we had said from last weekend where LL Cool J, he pretty much had beat up a guy that was trying to break into his home and rob his place? Well, that guy had sat up and he pled not guilty to a burglary charge of coming into LL Cool J's home down in Los Angeles. Now, the suspect, his name has been revealed to be Jonathan Kirby, 56 years old, who has 2 prior convictions in California. Now, under the state's 3 strikes law, a conviction on the latest charge would mean this guy would face a sentence of 38 years to life in prison. Now, police say that Kirby appears to be homeless and confirmed the suspect was treated at a local hospital for a broken nose, jaw, and ribs. Another hearing is set for September 10th to determine whether there is sufficient evidence for a trial. Switch it up now and let's talk about rock. We got some Van Halen news for you guys. Eddie Van Halen, guitarist Edward Van Halen, had underwent emergency surgery for a severe bout of diverticulitis. Now, no further surgeries are needed and a full recovery is expected within 4 to 6 months. Van Halen's scheduled November 2012 tour of Japan is currently being rescheduled, and the band looks forward to seeing him playing for their fans in 2013. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with what diverticulitis is, it's a common digestive disease, particularly found in the large intestines. Diverticulitis develops from diverticulitis, which involves the formation of pouches on the outside of the colon. Diverticulitis results in one of these diverticulia becomes inflamed. So basically, pretty bad stuff right there. Definitely glad that Eddie Van Halen was able to get that surgery. And for all of us here at Infinity One Productions, we definitely hope that Eddie Van Halen has a very speedy recovery. Metal guy, come on. We need you to come on back, and we need you to kick ass like better before, man. Definitely, if you have not checked that new album out from Van Halen called A Different Kind of Truth, we definitely want to grab that. It's a really badass album. You guys definitely will not be disappointed. And we got some Chicken Foot news from you guys, as Chicken Foot frontman Sammy Hagar had recently revealed that there will be a new release of their self-titled debut album. It's going to be a deluxe double disc version that's going to be released on October 16th of this year. It's going to be pretty badass. You all definitely want to check it out. It's going to have a couple of live tracks on there. This one, that'll pretty much be the standard album, but this too, all of that is going to contain about 5 to 6 live tracks. Definitely some really cool stuff like there. You definitely want to check that out. It's going to be a good grab. Got some Iron Maiden news for you guys. Iron Maiden has recently announced that they are going to release for a limited run now of vinyl picture disc editions of some of their most influential albums. It's going to be Iron Maiden, Killers, The Number of the Beast, Peace of Mind, Power Slave, Life After Death, Somewhere in Time, and Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. All of these will begin to be released on October 15th. Now, should be noted, Iron Maiden and the Killers, that'll be out on October 15th. The Number of the Beast and Peace of Mind will be released sometime in November. Power Slave and the double live album Life After Death will pop up in January 2013. Somewhere in Time and Seventh Son of a Seventh Son will come out somewhere in February. So you definitely want to keep your eyes peeled for that when it comes out. Definitely going to be a really good grab. You guys love Iron Maiden. You definitely won't be disappointed with that. Hey, you can never go wrong with vinyl. Also, we got some Rolling Stone news for you guys. Rolling Stones, they plan their first 2 shows since 2007. Now, the band, they will play 2 shows at Brooklyn's Barclays Center before the end of the year. Now, it should be noted that currently they are down in Paris. This was as of last week, it was reported, recording 2 new songs as they are going to be getting ready to celebrate their 50th anniversary. Now, it should be noted that the studio which they have gathered to perform and record these 2 new songs for an upcoming box set that's going to be released sometime in the next couple of weeks is the same studio that they had went to record new tracks for 2002's 40 Licks almost 10 years ago. And shortly that hopefully will be coming around, looks like it's going to be coming around November 15th, that they probably will be reforming and perform for the very first time. I know personally I would love to see a new Rolling Stones album. I definitely would like to see one more come out of these guys. If you guys haven't checked out their recent stuff that they've put out over the years, definitely really good. I highly recommend a good Rolling Stones album for you all that are not quite familiar with Rolling Stones. You should definitely pick up Rolling Stones 40 Licks. I promise you, after you listen to that, you'll definitely want to backtrack and check out all of their other stuff. Definitely some really great content that they've put out over the years. It just seems like they get better and better with age. And say what you want, these guys, they definitely know how to rock. And of course, we got to show some love to our good boy, or good man rather. Who are we to call him boy? He's a man. Sir Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin, who recently revealed to the UK newspaper, the Daily Telegraph, that he is ditching his recent country vocal style, which he employed on recent Band of Joy and Alison Krauss collaborations. Now, Plant says, and I quote here, "That was the great thing about the adventures with Alison and the singing with Patty and Buddy, that I started singing differently. Somebody said to me in London when we played the Forum recently, 'You had your big voice back.' I put the big voice away for quite a long time because I thought we know how to do that, so it was good to get it out again. It's all the same, really. You just have to use the right colors for the right picture." Now, it should be noted that Plant's next album is underway. It will be under the name Sensational Space Shifters. No songs have yet to be named, but Plant did clarify and go on record saying that there will be 12 tracks, 11 originals, and no sentimental stuff. So really good stuff right there, folks. So, alright guys, let's go on ahead and let's get you guys a game review here for the new Metal Gear Solid collection that had recently came out on Xbox Live earlier this week, a little bit the week before. I had the chance to sit down and I was able to play Part 2 and I was able to play Part 3 and I was able to play the last installment, Peace Walker. And I definitely got to let you guys know that I was very pleased with the way that this had came about. I mean, graphically speaking, I can remember when this had came out for the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and I can remember my pretend brother was kicking back and playing it. And I can honestly tell you, because I had the chance to sit down and I was able to play it earlier this week, I mean, the high resolution visuals, I mean, it is just freaking phenomenal. First time you're able to play this with full screen support, it just really enhances the experience even more. The one problem that I did have with this game, though, was the controls. I thought that the controls were more smoother with PlayStation. On the Xbox, you'll constantly kind of feel as though you're doing something wrong, but other than that, I guess it takes a while to get used to with those controllers, but other than that, I love the fact that you're able to get achievements off of this as opposed to trophies, and I just thought that this game definitely kicked ass. This is definitely one that you will not be disappointed picking up. And I know right now, if you go on Amazon.com, you can get Part 2, 3, and you can get Peace Walker all together. Forget this, $34.43. You can't beat that. Now, if you try to get this separately on Xbox Live, which they'll give you 2 and 3 together for $20, but they'll want $20 for Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, so they'll basically get an extra $6 out of you. So it's really up to you. You can either sit up and you can just pay that flat out price of $40, or you can go on Amazon and other websites and you can buy it for that $35, but remember, you'll have to also pay for shipping unless it's free. You know, so you really got to shop around. I would say go with Amazon.com. You could probably sit up and you could probably get it for free with shipping, free shipping. I definitely recommend you try to go for it that way. Only get it on Xbox Live if you don't really mind blowing the money and you just want it right then and there. You definitely won't be disappointed with all 3 of these games. I mean, Konami, they just have a history of creating some really great, fantastic games right here. And Metal Gear Solid has been one of my favorite personal games. I actually love to kick back and watch it being played more than actually playing it. But it's definitely a phenomenal video game. You definitely want to check it out when you get a chance. For you guys that have been waiting patiently for WWE WrestleFest, I have not been able to get any type of information further as far as what exactly is happening with the video game. I know it was supposed to be released earlier this week, but nothing has yet to come out. So I'm not really sure what's happening with this. We are still awaiting for a reply from WWE Games THQ lead designer Corey Lagasa. We're still waiting to hear back from either one of those parties. As soon as we're able to get a hold of any type of information, we'll definitely share it with you all on our Twitter page, and we'll also share it on our Facebook page and at our website. So we'll definitely keep you guys posted as soon as we're able to hear something. Let's go out on a high note, and let me give you guys the latest review of a Robert Plant album that I had bought just last week. It was a little bit under the radar, but I was definitely glad that I was able to check it out when I was able to. And this was a really great live album for me. Definitely had loved it. Robert Plant and the Sensational Space Shifters. Nice live album. You guys will not be disappointed with this album. Now, you can buy this right now in the iTunes store. You can also get it on Amazon. Everywhere else that sells digital copies online, you definitely won't be disappointed. 90 minutes, 15 tracks. Definitely some really great favorites on here as Robert Plant busts out Led Zeppelin hits such as Black Dog, Whole Lotta Love, Gallows Pole, Bron Yaw or Friends. You definitely are going to love this. It's a really great album. Not every day I can sit up and I can say, oh man, that live album, it really rocked. But this right here, I definitely love this album. If you guys are Robert Plant fans, you definitely will not be disappointed. Pick this up when you all are able to get a free moment. I was able to grab this on a live downloads website. It's a legit website. I was able to get it for $9.99. I mean, you can't really beat that. What more could you ask for? So definitely check it out when you get a chance. I'm definitely giving this album a 5 out of 5. I just think it's amazing that at 64 years old, Robert Plant, he still has the voice. He still has that rock god-like voice. Just seems like it keeps getting better and better with age. Can't really be disappointed right here, folks. Well, that is pretty much going to do it. We covered a lot of really cool stuff on this show this afternoon. I'd like to just take this time to thank you, the loyal listeners that continue to check out this show each and every single week, whether it's the Tuesday night edition of Impact Showdown Radio, Thursday night edition of Impact Showdown Radio, or our post shows, whether you're listening to it live on Blog Talk Radio or at our sister website at InfinityOneProductions.com or on Stitcher through the Stitcher app, or on YouTube. We definitely appreciate you guys that continue to check out the show each and every single week. As for the month of August, since we've been on the air, you made August be our most strongest month since we've been on the air, and we really appreciate that. We've been on the air for 6 months, and we just keep getting better and better, and you all just keep showing the support, and we really appreciate that. And hey, you love the show, you love what we do, let your voices be heard. Put out there a review in the iTunes store. Let everybody know how much you like the show. You can also feel free to like our Facebook page, befriend us, follow us, hit us up on Twitter, follow us. We love that interaction. We are always down for making new friends, so feel free to keep those in mind. That's going to do it. I think we had a pretty good show this time around. I like to just thank the lovely co-producer Tammy for always making sure that I am ready to do my thing and come on here and do this show for you guys every single week. Definitely want to thank Zed, definitely my right-hand man who does a lot of the dirty work. He does a lot of the grinding on social media. He's always pushing the Twitter, Facebook usually has a great hand in interacting with you all, getting you all's thoughts on what do you think about the products for that week. Definitely appreciate all the hard work that he puts in. For the folks that's helping us with the website, Matt, shout out to you guys as well. Definitely can't thank you, the listeners, enough. Of course, we can't really do all of this without your continued support. So big thank you to you all. And that's pretty much going to do it. I do hope you all have a fantastic Labor Day weekend. Programming note, due to the Labor Day holiday, which is going to be on Monday, the RCWR Show, we are just going to give ourselves a nice, cool little break. There is not going to be a Tuesday night edition of the Wrestling Report. That's right. There is not going to be a Tuesday night edition of the Wrestling Report. Instead, we will be doing a new episode of Impact Showdown Radio. So you all definitely want to check that out, as it will air at its regular time of 10 p.m. Eastern, and we'll get you guys caught up on the very latest in TNA wrestling news and more, as we'll get ready to set you guys up for a jam-packed wrestling weekend, as TNA will be bringing us the No Surrender pay-per-view coming up very shortly. It's going to be pretty jam-packed. But that's going to do it, folks. Do hope you all have a fantastic Labor Day holiday weekend. We are going to be on a little break. We will see you guys coming up this Thursday. So we will see you guys on September 6, 2012. I know it's a little bit of a stretch, but we need a little break from time to time, and we definitely need to take one now. But don't worry, we'll be coming back. We'll have our batteries recharged even more. So until we hear from you guys, because it's going to be a while, a few days, but it feels like it's going to be a while. Be sure to subscribe to our episodes of the RCWR Show and Impact Showdown Radio on the iTunes and Zune marketplaces. Episodes downloadable for free. Just use the keywords, the RCWR Show. Hey, if you have those smartphone portable devices, not going to be a problem whatsoever, especially if you go check out that free Stitcher app. Stitcher, new and smart way to play radio. Till we hear from you guys on September 6th, this coming Thursday night at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern, for a new episode of Impact Showdown Radio. This is the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. And as I always say at the end of the show, until we hear from you all next time, you all be safe and you all be kind to one another. Take care, folks. We'll see you next time.